Beltone Hearing Aid Center presents The Drive.
Ready, fight!
The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side three, it's good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome into the Monday, September 17th edition. The Drive is on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930, presented by Beltone Hearing Aid Center. We're coming to you today from the Union Pub and Grill, 1125 4th Avenue in Huntington. You know the Monday special, and if you don't, that means you haven't been listening to this program, because for years it has been the $1.50 bottle, the $2 call shot, and of course, you've got us. Us.
That's enough.
We were it.
That's it.
We were what was happening this weekend because Marshall football wasn't happening.
No, it's hard to believe that there was no game on Saturday. Talking to some neighbors and like that, I'm going to sunshine here, and we're thinking 6 hours to the east a little bit. It's just a madhouse. I cannot get out of my mind the picture of 30 inches of rain. What that does, it's just devastating.
It's a lot of water,
yes.
And it's hopefully it's going to subside soon. And there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of cleanup and damage to
yes.
get over. A lot of life was lost. You're always sad about that. And I think the right thing that happened this weekend was college football was moved or canceled from the affected areas. So that's the good thing here is that a lot of people realize that football was just secondary. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Dave Walsh with me here at the Union Pub and Grill as well. If you're wondering who the voices on your radio are, we're here until 6 o'clock this evening, and then back on the air at 8 o'clock, I'll be with Don Nealon and Bob Pruitt for the Don Nealon and Bob Pruitt Show. And we're going to try to talk about two games that didn't happen. That's what we're going to talk about here today, a game that didn't happen as
right.
we look ahead to NC State. Now, the Thundering Herd, the good news for them, they were able to quickly move into NC State game week preparation. Now, Dave, have you ever had a situation where you're preparing for a game, it gets canceled, and then you got to move into the next game? I don't think that the Thundering Herd had that problem.
We never had that problem, but it was, they kept waiting. Finally, they made a decision, so they, whatever South Carolina plans, turned the page to NC State, and they were on for it. And NC State, same way.
And there's
a nationally ranked team doesn't come to town.
Right.
Now you're coming to Huntington.
Now it's been thrown around that I mentioned there's some opportunities as well if Marshall wanted to play a game, and I think some people maybe threw it out there not as clear as they should that Marshall would pick up another game. Marshall, until further notice, is not playing a makeup game because they've got the money, the insurance,
yes.
everything covered. They're good. So they get the payday, and it would have to be an extremely good deal for Marshall to look at that payday and go, no, we're not going to take the guaranteed here. We're going to go do something else. And here's another opportunity for Marshall to take advantage of the off weeks. They've really got the retool for NC State. You wanted to play that South Carolina
yes.
game, but they get the retool now for NC State. And then they've got the bye week after FAU. October 20th is that game, and then the next time Thundering Herd plays is November 3rd. And I want a well-rested Thundering Herd team for the final four games. Sure, I'd like to see another game, but not at the expense of my conference schedule if I'm Doc Holliday.
No, because if you're playing for championships, they want to play an East title, so you don't go. It would be, say, Nebraska. They went out to play Nebraska, whatever, but something happens and you go, well, they got whatever. But then you got to come back and start back in the league play again, so roll with it. You've got a break. NC State, Western, Middle, some tough games at the ones you have to beat. Then you get a break and finish up Southern Miss, Charlotte, UTSA, and FIU, which rolled over the weekend. So it really sets up well. Play 4, rest, play 4. And hopefully 5.
I'm telling you right now, I'm happy that Marshall doesn't have to take on North Texas until possibly the championship game.
Right.
That team's loaded, man. They are
especially
good.
Their punt return, man. He is very good.
Now, I know we're talking Arkansas, but still, they are loaded. They are ready to go. I think that's probably the best team right now in Conference USA.
I was watching that in the punt return several times, and I'm trying to think. You've seen people catch the ball and just freeze up. He stood there and then just took off, and I wonder if that goes in the playbook to some people like, well, okay, no hands went up, everybody relaxed, and he took off. And Arkansas is going, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And then, like you said, right now, I don't want to play them. They have really rolled on the offense and played great defense to this point.
I want to play them.
Oh, yeah.
As a Herd fan, if you don't want to play them, then you're just not living
You'd like
life
to
right.
play them the first Saturday in December?
Yeah, playing for the championship game if it goes that way.
Either place.
Oh, I want it in Huntington.
I like it to be in Huntington.
Yeah,
but
I
you
want
to be there. So.
Yeah, I want it in Huntington.
Right.
Because those things are easier to win in your home court or your home field or your home arena, wherever these championships are played. I mean, these things are easier to win when you're hosting.
Exactly.
And so for football, I want to host.
La Tech would vouch for that because that's who Marshall beat when they won it here that year in overtime. So it would be a lot closer for us, Paulie. Denton, Texas is a long way away from here, as we well know. So I wouldn't mind right up the street.
No.
Doc wouldn't mind it either.
No, Doc wouldn't mind it at all. So Georgia pounds on Middle Tennessee State. So not a good showing for Middle. North Texas waves the banner for the conference with that 44-17 drubbing of Arkansas. Kansas State just obliterates UTSA 41-17. Florida Atlantic playing, I don't know, what is this? They're playing Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
Come on.
I know.
At least Marshall played EKU.
Exactly.
Also, you had FIU beating up on Massachusetts.
That's the old 1A independent. You know, they're struggling out there sitting in independent land.
And the choke of the week, or the most disappointing game in Conference USA, was Western Kentucky not able to get the job done taking on Louisville. They lose that one 20-17.
I think they were, 17-0 at one point?
They had a shot. They had a legitimate shot.
They were leading the whole game.
Yeah. And then there's Tennessee beating up on poor UTEP 24-0. And you also had UAB beating Tulane 31-24.
That's not bad.
That's a good count. I'll take that one.
Yeah, because a week ago, UAB kind of stubbed its toe a little bit. I forget the opponent. But here's the old American Athletic Conference USA, and they put one on them pretty good.
I'll take that any day. But the big one still is, of course, if Western Kentucky could have got Louisville, that would have been nice. But North Texas waving the banner right now for Conference USA, taking on Arkansas and winning 44-17. So it's a win. It's a good win. It's maybe not the sexiest win you can get, but you'll still take it.
They'll take it. That's an SEC program you beat.
Right.
Whether good, bad, or indifferent, that's for the little guy against the big guy. It's one for them. It's sort of like Marshall this weekend.
I'm sure Middle would have liked to have played them instead of Georgia.
Exactly.
But they probably get a nice paycheck for that.
They got a check, but they also found out why Georgia's either number 2 or 3 in the nation, hopefully back to the title game again. They've got a lot of weapons, and they're very good.
Georgia's going to do that to a lot of people.
Yes.
That's not a Middle Tennessee issue. That's just Georgia going to do that to a lot of teams. So Marshall's got NC State. NC State did not play as well because they were affected by the weather, so they canceled their game with West Virginia. That was going to be a big game for them because West Virginia doesn't play and then moves up a couple of spots.
I read that. I said, hurricaned out, and they move up in the polls. I guess if you can get that kind of break, of course, you had some help. Wisconsin goes down.
Well, they didn't lose, so you can't penalize them.
No.
I mean, I don't think you dock them if you're not wanting to face a hurricane and a football team on the same field.
One of those things where you take the lead sitting on the bench, so to speak. You know, those things, and I'm sure Dane and the guys up north, thank you very much. We'll take it.
Oh, this is good for them. They're getting ready for conference now.
I think it's K-State.
Yep. They're getting ready for conference where, as Marshall's getting ready for NC State, I think this goes the Thundering Herds way a little bit more because Marshall's had more real lead time. Even though NC State, they knew that their game with West Virginia wasn't going to happen sooner, they had a situation where they had to deal with the hurricane.
Right.
So really, they're doing regular game prep week activities. Marshall's been prepping since, the South Carolina game is over. Mm-hmm. We're moving on. It's NC State game week, and we've got player interviews we're going to get to when we come back from break. We're going to start out with Jordan Dowrey. We're going to hear from him. Haven't talked to him in a little while, so he's going to join us when we come back from break. Got Tyree Brady. I've got a lot of guys we caught up with today. We'll try to get to them all if we can. Want to remind you, we're coming to you live from the Union Pub and Grill, 1125 4th Avenue in Huntington. And you're listening to The Drive, presented by Belltone Hearing Aid Center, right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Don't worry. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're presented by Belltone Hearing Aid Center. I want to welcome you back to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm Paul Swann. I've got Dave Walsh with me here. We're at 1125 4th Avenue in Huntington at the Union Pub and Grill. This is where we hang out every Monday. Fortunately, we don't have a game to talk about. We've got one to look ahead to, though. But we're previewing a game in which the two participants didn't play last weekend.
Both got hurricaned out. That's odd. Two from West Virginia get hurricaned out. and a very tough situation in those places. We wish them the best in their recovery, and now
you got to do it.
It's move on to NC State.
You got to do it. The Thundering Herd definitely did not get hurt from a financial standpoint.
No.
That's the good news.
I read that today. I said, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Don't play and get $1.4 million for doing it.
Get insurance. You got insurance. That's what insurance is for.
So like you said, well, that might be a reason that you really don't have to play.
I wouldn't.
Although some people have stoked the fire going with East Carolina, UCF, and Nebraska having that open date, but play 4, rest, play 4, and hopefully rest, get ready for a championship game.
Unless the check is really big, I wouldn't do it.
No, it would probably have to be substantial.
It was going to have to be definitely a lot more worth my time.
Right.
I mean, I'm not talking about equal. I'm talking way more than I'm getting for this insurance check. I'm not playing any game in the middle of my comp. Yeah, you could. I want 12, but not at the expense of my conference season.
No.
Because at this point, after NC State, it's Conference USA all the way.
Right.
You're playing all your conference foes. You're trying to win a conference university. I'm sorry, you're trying to win a Conference USA East Division title, and you're trying to win a Conference USA championship.
Right.
So, guess what?
Yeah, and the thing,
playing UCF doesn't help me.
No.
ECU does not help me to that goal.
It used to when they're in the league, but they're not there anymore. So no, it doesn't.
Doesn't help me at all.
And the way it sets up, Western hasn't won a game yet. They're first. Middle Tennessee here. Old Dominion is in a big story this weekend down there, not going well on or off the field down there.
So
it sets up well.
Marshall could either be undefeated or with one loss by the time they get to FAU.
And you know who's in town that week?
Lane Train.
What the build-up will be for that one.
Well, listen to
Lane Train's got UCF this week, I think.
Listen to this show that week, and you'll find out what
the Lane Train when he rolls in.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get to the interviews. We have got first up on deck. We've got Jordan Dowrey. Now, I asked these guys today. I tried to lead off with something really simple, such as, "Hey, you're getting ready," and Jordan, he's a fun guy to talk to, and I just basically said, "Look, are you ready? You've been getting ready for NC State since last week. Here's what Jordan had to say as we talked to him first on Player Day.
It's disappointing that we didn't get to play that game, but at the same time, it's given us a lot of time to rest, recover, get our bodies feeling good, and we haven't even. Normally, by this time, we wouldn't even be started on the next opponent. We've gotten to watch film on them and everything else, so it feels good. We're ahead of the game for where we are this time of the week.
What was that transition like, going from South Carolina, not playing that game, and then let's get ready for NC State?
That was a weird one for me because I've never had a game canceled in my career. So you put all your effort, all your focus into one team, and all of a sudden everything you've been doing for the last couple of days is out the window, and you just sort of have to erase all that and start looking at the next team. So it was definitely weird. Never had to do that before, but it was a transition that I think the team handled pretty well.
So rarity, you're here on a Player Day. You actually have seen your next opponent a little bit more than you usually have. So what have you seen of NC State?
They're a good defense. And I don't know much about their offense because I focus on my side of the ball, but they've got a good defense. There's a lot of guys that are new to us. They've played football, but the starting group for their D-line especially is gone, and so got to spend some extra time getting to know them because even though we played them last year, the guys who are getting the majority of the reps now are guys that we didn't see as much last year. And for me personally, I didn't play much of that game last year. I got hurt on play 3, so I don't have as much personal experience against those guys as some of the other guys in the room. The other guys on the O-line played against them for a full game, and so they know their opponents better than I do because they've actually taken snaps against them. So,
how frustrating was that for you? The fact that you get yourself amped up, you're getting ready to go down to NC State and play them, and it was third or fourth play you went down.
Play 3. I was real frustrated because, and everyone knows how good that defensive line was last year, and I was really excited to go and test myself against guys that everyone in the stands knows those guys are going to go to the league, and I was excited to go out and push myself and compete against those guys, and I got 3 snaps, and I was happy with the 3 snaps, but I would have preferred a full game to really get to battle with those guys because they're great players and they're all in the NFL now. So, but at the same time, there's players that they've got now that it's going to be a battle and it's going to be a good matchup for everybody. I think they're good players, and so I'm excited about another opportunity.
Is there a different type of when you? I mean, I think all 4 other guys were taking top 4 rounds last year, and one of them had torn his ACL. That's how highly regarded those guys were. Is there a different type of juice getting ready to go up against a defensive line? You know what caliber NC State brings to the table consistently.
Well, it's exciting to play any team who you know is really good. When you know that you've got guys across from you that are going to push you, that are going to be really, really talented guys, that means that you have to push yourself. You have and when you have a good rep, when you win a rep in the game, it's a great feeling. But at the same time, you just want to make sure that you don't want to treat them like they're like in preparation. You don't want to treat them differently than other opponents because you prepare hard for everybody. But at the same time, it is exciting to go against guys, and the guys that they've got, they're good. So it's gonna be fun.
You notice anything different about them on defense this year, with the exception of all the guys that are on scheme-wise? Are they playing the same kind of defense they played last year against you guys?
There are a lot of similarities, and again, it's hard for me because when I did all of the game preparation last year, but then when I got to the game, I didn't really get to feel it and experience. So my memory of that game was the sideline. So I don't have a personal feel for their scheme the same way some of the other guys do. But watching film from this year and last year, there's a lot of similarities. So it's the same general concept, but they do some things differently, and we do some things differently. So at the end of the day, every game's a new game. So.
Not having that experience, how much do you talk to Levi and some of those other guys and try and communicate with them in film study to get a feel for them?
Yeah, well, it's always nice because when you watch film on somebody and you don't know who they're going against. We watch the film of another team, and I don't know anything about that offensive lineman, and so watching how he does against them is hard for me to really gauge until you get in the game and you get a feel for how they hit, what they do, all those things. And when you don't get to go and ask the guy on the other team whose film you've been watching, when you get to ask your own guys, it helps you get a feel for what you're seeing on film. And at the end of the day, it usually just reaffirms what you see on film because at the end of the day, that's the best way to get to know somebody. But it definitely helps having guys who I can ask questions to.
How important is that? And I know it's an unscheduled bye week, and it's only a couple games into the season, but how important, especially for offensive and defensive linemen, because you all went 6 weeks, basically a preseason, and you go to 2 weeks. How important was that week to really get your all's bodies right for this week?
Well, it was again disappointing to not get to play that game, but from that aspect, it's a pleasant surprise when you get an unexpected break for your body and you can get your legs back under you a little bit. It's nice, and I think it helps all of us. I think especially the positions that are hitting a lot, but at the same time the receivers and everybody else who's running all day long, everything takes a toll on your body, and so having a couple days where we could back off a little bit, focus on the little things, get the technique and the base scheme that we want to do squared away, I think it helps everybody.
On the flip side, how do you keep from being a little bit rusty? You've had that week off, you weren't expecting it, you just sort of get into a flow, and it's been a disruptive week to say the least.
Well, we had a couple days that we got to take the pads off and work on technique and scheme, and then we had a couple days where we're back in pads and doing stuff, and because of that, I don't think we're going to miss a beat there just because we still hit in practice, and so you don't really lose that too quickly. And at the end of the day, it's the same situation for them. They had a game scheduled, and theirs got canceled, so they've had the same sort of issues to deal with on top of evacuations and whatever else they've had going on down there. But it's nice to get your legs back.
It's Jordan Dowrey earlier this afternoon over at Jones C. Edwards Stadium, and he's right. There are a lot of issues because NC State didn't begin their football preparation. They're actually back with the players until Sunday night because, again, they had to deal with evacuation. They had to deal with players and families and shelters, so they weren't on the field as a unit. The Thundering Herd, they've been together. They haven't had to deal with the weather as an issue or separation of the team for safety. Instead, they were able to break down film. They had that ready to go.
Yeah.
So kudos to the staff having that ready to go for the next game. So they're looking at film. They're working on skills. They're working as a team. They're getting a game plan put together. I'm sure they had some semblance of a game plan already, advanced work,
right.
But now they get to work on this. So they've had since last week to work on NC State. NC State started Sunday. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make, but that's an advantage for the Thundering Herd.
It is. And you're thinking with the evacuation and things of that going on in Raleigh, I think school was even called off for a while, so you're thinking, how can they practice football if there's no school? So, safety issues were first. Hopefully they're back to normal will not be normal, but they're back in the flow a little bit. But, Marshall's got some extra time. They know this team from last year, although there's some different players that weren't there that are there now. So, but at the same time, they have a feel. NC State probably knows Dowrey Brady. They'll probably guard him a little better this time. So, Marshall, a little bit of help getting an early jump on NC State. But, NC State, big-time program, ACC, so I'm sure they had their pages on Marshall ready to flip and get on with it too. So I'm sure come 7 o'clock Saturday night, both sides will be ready.
So if I'm looking at Dowrey Brady, how much am I focusing on that running attack as well? How many guys can I put out there to key on the big weapons? Because don't forget, if you're covering Keion, we're going to hear from Keion next break. If you're covering Keion, there's Obi. Don't forget Obi. And if you're trying to prevent the big play from the passing attack, look, Mr. Dowrey Brady's going to be right there looking for a big hole. Because last year they really were surprised by Keion. And I think they're going to play him a little fair this time. They're going to play him a little bit more honest. They're going to key on Keion.
They probably didn't appreciate Dowrey setting a stadium record receiving-wise last year down there in NC State.
Yeah.
When you think of all the people that have played against them in that facility,
right? And
the number one guy is the Marshall guy.
Yeah,
they'll have his attention this week.
I mean, you're going to have to you're going to have to deal with Dowrey. You're going to have to deal with Keion, and I tell you what, we're going to hear from Dowrey when we get back from break. Let's I'll tell you what, we'll go with Dowrey. I think that's the interview we want to go with. So when we come back from break, we'll hear with what Dowrey had to say. He had a lot to say, actually. So we're going to go with that when we come back from break. We're here at the Union Pub and Grill. You're listening to The Drive, presented by Belltone Hearing Aid Center on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Monday edition. We are here at the Union Pub and Grill, 1125 4th Avenue, Huntington. It's Monday. You know what that means.
2 and 150.
2 and 150. $2 call shots, 150 bottles, and, of course,
great company.
Us, the great company, yes. The great company that is the Union Pub and Grill. Taylor's taking good care of you today, so make sure to get down here and be a part of Monday at the Union Pub and Grill. Hey, plus, there's Monday Night Football.
Exactly.
Come on. Monday Night Football at the Union. That's where you want to be.
That's what you're supposed to do. It's like part of a Monday activity. Kick off Monday Night Football here, looking on many of the screens that Herbie has.
Exactly.
Take it in and take advantage of what you just said, 2 and 150.
That's why Herb likes us. We're like the ultimate hype men for Herb when he has us here at the Union Pub and Grill.
Yes.
We are presented this afternoon by Belltone Hearing Aid Center. They are, of course, our presenting sponsor for today's show. We thank them for everything they do for us, and they allow us to bring you things like this. I had a chance earlier to catch up with Dowrey Brady. You know Dowrey is going to be a focus of NC State, and I kind of started asking him a little bit about that as far as the fact that they know.
Yes.
They haven't forgotten you. Yeah. They remember you well.
They're probably reading all week. This guy set the record last day. They're tired of reading that.
Stop this guy.
So, yes. And I'm sure as Dowrey has said, hey, bring it on. I'm ready.
So here's Dowrey Brady from earlier today and during Player Day.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty disappointing because, you look forward to big-time games like that, especially, being the SEC opponent. So, we looking forward to games like that. But the Hurricanes are more important, the lives of them. So, now we're ready for NC State, another big opponent. So we're excited about that.
So what are you seeing about them? I mean, I know they're looking at you seriously, keeping, they've got all your highlights. So what do you anticipate them doing to you this time, or trying to do to you?
A lot of double. I mean, I would think they would do double coverage and bracket, but I mean, they come out here, they might do something else. They might feel they could play man to man, or they might, because, you know, we have a lot of guys who can make plays on our team, so they got to account to them too as well. So, I mean, if they want to draw all their attention on me, then they're leaving our teammates one-on-one, so we're ready for that.
You relish that, to know that, okay, they're going to key on me, and if they got me doubled, then you're probably smiling, thinking, all right, we're going to bust a big run or something on them.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I still try to get open. You know, I still want to make plays. I still try to get open. But, you know, if we running the ball, I'm going to go out there and block hard because, you know, I want to run the break my way. You know, I love big plays. I love big plays, no matter who gets it.
Did it make your job easier just knowing that, all right, I know I'm going to have a big play opportunity here, but if they focus too much on me, we've got so many weapons. I mean, it's nice to know that you've got a couple of guys that, okay, they can focus on me and take me away. They got to deal with this. If they try to deal with that, they got to now be hopefully burned by you.
Yes, it makes my job a lot easier knowing I have guys that can make plays, you know, all in my room, from the receivers to the running backs to our tight ends. We're loaded. And, you know, Isaiah does a great job of distributing the ball, so finding whoever open. So, yeah, that makes it a lot easier on me.
It's been pretty helpful. You got the extra film study now, and, for a young quarterback to maybe get a little bit more prep time on what's probably the biggest home. Well, they're all big to you guys, but for the fans, this one's going to be a really special game.
Yes, definitely. And we don't shy from that. We know this is one of our biggest games of the year, and we're looking forward to it. And, you know, we could watch them on film and, you know, how they play another team, but then they come out here and play us a totally different way. So, you know, it's pretty like a chess game for real. So we just got to be ready and adapt. We just play our game however they want to come.
Now, with your familiarity with this team, how do you pass that on to a guy like Isaiah? I mean, you're studying what they are now, but do you try to tell him a little bit, okay, here's what they did last year, or does that not even come into play when you guys get ready for an opponent, what they did last year?
I don't really think about what they did too much last year because they had a whole different team. They had a tremendous front line, defensive lineman, and they probably felt like they should get a lot of pressure on them and just man up on the outside. But, you know, they lost most of all them guys, so that changed the whole defense, I would think. So, and we won't really focus on last year. Just play our game. Don't make it bigger than what it is. You know, just keep doing what you've been doing and just getting better each time we step out on the field.
You mentioned those guys in town. I mean, they did lose a lot defensively. I think they sent, 7 guys in the other team. So, personnel-wise, compared to last year and compared to this year, how much of a drop-off do you see in the talent that you'll be facing?
You know, they had Bradley Chubb, you know, who's one of the top picks in the draft. So, you know, that's a big loss for them right there. But, you know, they still have athletes, you know, who learned behind him, and other guys who just been waiting on their turn, and who knows the defense already. So, you know, they pick up where they left off. And, you know, we won't take them lightly. We know they're a great team, and we're excited to have them here.
And you guys were able to move the ball against them last year. Just a couple of mistakes, you get down the red zone. But you guys feel pretty good about being able to move the ball against them this year, too.
Yes, definitely. You know, we felt like we killed ourselves last year, a few mistakes, and just got to finish now, get the job done now. Now we have a second chance at them again in our home stadium, so we're excited.
Talk about what this kind of means for the program. Great opportunity here. You've got a Power 5 team here in the Jones. Good opportunity to catch the national attention.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we win in the Jones. That's always been a thing. And now we have a big-time opponent coming to our home stadium. You know, we got to protect them, you know, and it'll be great for us to win in front of our home crowd. So we're excited.
Is there any extra excitement after not playing a game, just pent up from last week, that goes into this one?
Yeah, you know, you just have all that you build up, and you know, you just want to just keep grinding, just stay focused, not make it bigger than what it is. But, you know, it's still a little edge from last week, you know, because you had to sit and watch on Saturday everybody else play, and you wish you could be out there. But now, back to it, though, game week, so we ready.
So did you watch Saturday?
I watched all the games. I was watching multiple. I was just flicking through the channels and stuff like that. So I mean, it was a lot of games on.
What was the best game you watched?
I mean, at first I was watching the Bama and Ole Miss game, but that got out of hand real quick, so I had turned it from there. I thought that was going to be a good one.
So Bama wasn't the best game of the week, Dave?
Until they kicked off. I mean, it was like 7s, then all of a sudden I saw scores go up, and everything you read about Alabama, as good as they are or projected to be and what they've done, and now they're saying their next toughest game will be Auburn at the very end of the year. I mean, I don't know who wants to play that team because the lefty throwing the football now and the defense they have.
I'm going to tell you right now, the best game I watched, that LSU-Auburn game.
Yes.
That was great. Went down to the wire.
Yeah, well,
that was good college football.
Winning field goal at the buzzer, wasn't it? Something like that. A lot of that going on this weekend at 2 levels.
See, I don't get a chance to do that very often. On a Saturday?
No.
Yeah. There's not a wall of monitors where I get to watch all the college football games in the press box.
Yeah, I know. We're stuck on one.
One game.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
It's fine, yeah. But give me a bank of monitors I can watch a few other games as well. Keep an eye on that.
We got the infamous Woody with replay, the replay sound. So, no. But it was fun to watch. I switched around, picked up some games here and there.
Nobody knows what that means.
No.
That's an in-house.
That's in-house.
Yes. And
what stays in the Joan, right.
We're going to keep that in-house.
Yes.
All right, we'll come back and we will carry on here at the Union Pump and Grill. We're at 1125 4th Avenue in Huntington, where it's always on Monday. The kitchen's open right now, plus you've got the deals. You got the $2 call shots. Best service in town. Taylor's taking great care of everyone, and we're going to come right back and do it one more time when we continue on the drive, presented by Beltone Hearing Aid Center on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to the drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're presented by Beltone Hearing Aid Center. Welcome back to the September 17th edition, the Monday show here at the Union Pub and Grill, 1125 4th Avenue in Huntington. Last week was weird. Now we get to get ready for a game again, but it's sort of like opening week all over again because we didn't have a game last week. Bye weeks are kind of awkward.
Right.
And so we've 2 games in, we've got the bye week type atmosphere. Now we're getting right back at it. NC State, they didn't play. Marshall didn't play, so now they're gearing back up. Marshall's got the advantage. They've had more time to actually physically prepare, work their kids. I'm sure these kids have maybe had the kids that were around. I don't know how that really did because they truly began their game week on Sunday.
They had to break.
It was more of healing for them.
Exactly. Came to us a little bit later. They were to turn their attention to NC State a little quicker than maybe the Wolfpack were able to do. But right now, they're ready. And one thing I'm really interested to see Saturday night, Paulie, how many people show up. This is the ACC. This is your marquee home game that you clamor for every year. We need to play some people. Well, here they are. Let's see how many show up because I guarantee you the days I was in the newspaper business, we'd get the phone call, is the Marshall game on TV, which automatically meant they weren't going. So we'll see how many show up at the Joan and get your stripes right. You don't want to have green when it should be white and white when it should be green.
All right, I'm going to say this right now.
Okay.
If this place is not sold out,
ain't going to happen.
Forget it.
Yep.
Forget it because there's no reason why this should not have a sellout crowd. It's on the fans.
Yes.
You said everything right. Big-time opponent.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they
want. The Thundering
want.
Herds 2-0. The excitement's there, right?
Right.
Everybody's fired up for Herd football. This could be a good year for the Herd.
Right.
And NC State's coming in. They're a pretty good program, a name program. Marshall's faced them 4 previous times. Marshall's yet to beat them. This could be a special day for the Thundering Herd.
Yeah.
And if there is a crowd there,
it makes you wonder what it's going to take.
What is it? What is it?
This should be it because NC State, you knew this was going to happen. They played with them for 2.5 quarters last year in Raleigh till a couple of misplays towards the end of the game.
They lost 37-20.
Yeah, and that last touchdown was really a gift. So for 2.5 quarters, Marshall was ahead.
This is a 17-point loss. And,
so,
it's not like Georgia just rolled you the way they rolled Middle Tennessee.
They got their attention, and I'm hoping the fans will respond. And the infamous 12th man would be very nice to have on board this week and make the Wolfpack as uncomfortable as they can.
It would be nice.
Because even if the place is packed, let's say, for example, for NC State, this will be the smallest crowd they play in front of all year.
I know, but
the ACC, maybe Carolina's struggling right now, but normally, so they're used to this environment.
But it'll be a fun environment.
Yes.
I don't think the size of the crowd's the factor. It's just how involved the crowd is. Yeah. Are they into it? Do they get involved when big plays happen? Do they get loud at the right time? And if Marshall fans are out of the game early and just sleepwalking through this one, if NC State takes an early lead and quiets everybody,
that's what they want to do.
No problem.
Right.
They'll just roll in and take the victory and leave. But if the crowd's into it and Marshall keeps it close, it could be a fun, interesting contest.
You kind of hope that when they come through the gate out for the field, you hope the crowd is up at that point. And really,
I hope the crowd's there as kickoff begins.
I know, because a lot of times we're going like, wait a minute, where's everybody? And then about halfway through the first quarter, you look down, where'd they come from?
Oh, the West Lot.
Yes.
Lock your car early, pack your stuff up.
They know when the kickoff is, be there.
Go to your seat.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Yes, you paid to watch the game, not to whatever you're doing.
Man, I get it. You're spending a lot of money. You want to hang out on the West Lot. That's fine. I get it. But it's a football game. It's really, that's the reason we're here.
It's a football game. It's a big football game. And not to put the cart before the horse. Okay, we always joke about the Power 5, the Access Bowl.
Yeah.
Usually we say Boise State, well, they got whacked. Now they're talking UCF. Lane Kiffin can throw a monkey wrench into that plan this week. NC State, they've always said play big games. And the comment has been, well, you play them is one thing. You need to win one. They win this one, and you look at what's down the road. I mean, Marshall's name has been thrown around, but you still
got to
get
this one.
But this is the statement.
You had your opportunity with South Carolina. Unfortunately, the weather prevented that opportunity. Now you got NC State.
This is the Access Bowl, making it accessible if you can take these guys down.
And I'm not trying to get on the fans. It's just this is the game.
Yes.
If you want to walk and talk like a major program, start acting it.
Right.
Show up.
I mean, right now we're reading bowl projections. They're in Hawaii, whatever.
That's not happening.
What would it be nice to play in an Access Bowl knowing that there's like $12, $13 million to be taken? It's right here, right now. This could be the big statement. They go, hey, well, here we didn't know. We kind of knew, but now they proved it. And then Doc goes, okay, then it's the next one right now. But this is statement time. You schedule them, but as I said in the past, you got to win one at some point.
Yeah, because you look at the schedule. This is your biggest game on the schedule. Your second biggest game, which actually could be the biggest game, depending on the circumstances, is FAU.
Right.
Middle's probably number 3 on my list, and then I'm going to say UTSA and Charlotte are a convenient 4 and 5 of the games that remain here.
WKU, you don't know what their mindset is right now. They had Louisville beat and they let it get away. I'm not sure who they got this week, and then Marshall shows up to open conference play, and they're thinking, finally we got them here. They had to come here 2 years in a row, so they finally got them down there. But
and you know what? Don't talk to me about, hey, I couldn't afford tickets, because I'll give Marshall credit. They came up with a little mini package.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have explored all the options.
They came up with a mini package. Hey, you want the NC State game? You want the FAU game and a third game of your choice? Go. Here it is.
Yeah. I mean, they went and said, okay, what can we do to give them a better chance? Okay, here comes mini package. 2 out of 3. You got Lane Train and you got NC State. What better chances do you have than see those two?
I think I'm just going to be – I shouldn't be, because, well, it is –
You do on occasion, though. Go ahead.
It is what it is.
Yes.
The fans that show up, great. The fans that don't, I mean, I can't individually tell you why they didn't show up, but you can't tell me there's not 32,000 Herd fans, 33,000, 35,000 Herd fans that could get into Jones C. Edwards Stadium on Saturday.
I think they could, because you think about years past.
39,000.
2 of the largest crowds ever in the Joan were games that were played before noon.
I'll take 36,000.
Kansas State and the boys up north a couple times. Southern Miss has put some big crowds in the house. So, hey.
Yeah, do you want West Virginia to be your biggest crowd? Do you want that to be your biggest crowd?
No. Let's bump them to 2. Let's bump them to 2. Because, you know, that was bandied about too. Okay, we're not playing, they're not playing. Well, guess what? These 2 ain't playing either.
No.
They do not know our phone number anymore. And that's wish them the well, but hey, let it go, folks. They're not going to play us.
Honestly?
Unless it's scheduled in a bowl game or the NCAA says, well, this is like industry pairing in basketball. Let's set it up.
Honestly, I'm glad they lost each other's phone numbers. I'm glad.
Mm-hmm.
Move on. completely forget it. It's not a big deal anymore.
Best of luck in the Big 12.
Yes, exactly. Good luck in the Big 12. You got a big game against Kansas State. For those fans, the ones that you're talking about.
Right. But then we've got NC State, and we'll go from there. And you go, and whatever happens, happens.
And you know what? If you got 2 conference champions, you got a Big 12 championship in West Virginia and a Conference USA champion with Marshall.
Great.
So be it. Because I honestly think that everything's better off this way.
Exactly.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with everyone on this one.
I really think, Paulie, this year it could happen. Because they're talking about, I was reading some comments about them playing a game, an extra game. The available date would be the weekend of championship games. And I think some of the boys up north were going, well, we plan on being in the championship game, so we couldn't be there.
Yeah.
And they could.
And another thing, you're talking about the West Virginia schedule, forget it. Forget makeup game.
Yeah.
You're getting ready for the Big 12.
Yeah.
Win the Big 12 is the biggest goal now for West Virginia.
Marshall's got
win Conference USA.
FAU. They've got to worry about. Yep. Look, Kansas is winning now, but I'm thinking Oklahoma State, Baylor,
right?
TCU, which Ohio State got. I mean, they both got their hands full.
That's why that talk of the makeup game, while I enjoy participating in it, at the end of the day, no.
Leave it blank.
Conference USA, win your conference.
And you can cut the grass again that weekend.
Hopefully it'll be
done.
Should hire out for that. That's going to do it for this edition. Don't forget, coming up in an hour, I'll be back with you for the Don Nealon and Bob Pruitt Show. You can listen to that coming up at 7:06 right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. For our producer back in the studio, Gabriel Sellers. For Dave Walsh, I'm Paul Swann. Thanks to the folks here at the Union and Pub and Grill taking good care of us.
Exactly.
It's the Union, Pub, and
Harvey
Grill.
And the gang, they treat us like royalty.
It makes Monday fun.
Yes.
We appreciate those folks.
Yes.
We'll be back tomorrow, do it all over again. We got more player interviews from tomorrow. Doc Holliday as well. So we will see you tomorrow on The Drive.